Hello, Lions fans, and welcome back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving in. And yes, I know I've been pushing out a lot of content today, but I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, so I'm trying my best to keep up. But with that being said, hope you all enjoy this episode, and let's get into it. So, here's the thing, folks. For a lot of Lions fans, I would say yesterday's first day of the NFL tampering period for the NFL free agency period of 2024 left them very disappointed. And as I said in the previous episode, they're probably a little bit frustrated this morning because it's like, hey, the Lions yesterday really didn't do much of anything that had any substance to it. And again, it makes sense why some people are feeling that way because literally yesterday, there was a flurry. There was a bevy of moves that other teams made, and the Lions pretty much kind of just sat on the sidelines, sat on their hands, and really didn't do a whole lot of stuff. And what they did do was not exactly what Lions fans were expecting. So the moves that the Lions made were not considered big-time moves, as I said in that previous episode, and it left a lot of Lions fans disappointed at the fact that we didn't make many moves that were considered anything substantial. Now, when you think about it, to add further insult to injury, a lot of the targets that a lot of Lions fans had expressed that they were interested in, that they expressed and desired that they would like to see the Lions go after, they were quickly acquired, they were quickly gobbled up by other teams, and they were taken right off the market almost as quickly as the market opened up for them to start making negotiations. And who am I talking about? I'm talking about stars like Christian Wilkins. I'm talking about stars like Robert Hunt. I'm talking about stars like Brian Burns that got traded to the Giants from the Panthers. And I'm also talking about the fact that the Lions didn't go out and get Jonah Jackson. Now, some people might not necessarily be as upset about losing Jonah Jackson because he got paid a pretty substantial contract from the Rams, but it's like, listen, it was just one more further indication that the Lions were not really interested yesterday in going out and making a big move. They were not interested in making a splash move yesterday. However, though, I will say this. The Lions faithful, they have at least one last hope. They have one last reservoir, if you will, to be like, hey, maybe this can change. And that is free agent Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter currently is still a free agent. He is still out there, has not been yet claimed or has stated that he is signed with a team yet. And at this point in the free agency market, he remains the best free agent that is available on the market. Not to say he wasn't one of the best ones already to start with, but it's like, listen, he is the best one that's left. And it's like, okay, for many Lions fans, the potential to get Danielle Hunter is still something that they absolutely want. It's almost kind of like a craving for them because it's like, listen, the ability to get Danielle Hunter is something they badly want because you have to understand something here. For us Lions fans, we have been told all offseason, and we have pretty much come to the conclusion from all offseason that the Lions desperately, absolutely 110% have to upgrade the edge rushing position and the cornerback position. And while yesterday's moves that I have talked about, such as Marcus Davenport and Carlton Davis, definitely added bodies to that equation, wouldn't necessarily say it was an improvement, wouldn't necessarily say it was an upgrade. So it's like, listen, a lot of Lions fans would desperately love to see Danielle Hunter in Honolulu Blue. And the reason why is quite very simple. The point of the matter is that Hunter is just a very disruptive, very explosive force that the Lions could find great use for. And again, it makes a lot of sense when you really start thinking about how well the Lions could get out of Danielle Hunter if they could actually acquire him. Because you have to think about it from this perspective, folks. Go to, I think it's Pro Football Reference, and you type in who is the current active leaders in terms of NFL sacks. Danielle Hunter is currently ranked 11th out of all active players in the NFL in terms of sack totals. And if I recall correctly, don't quote me this for 100% accuracy, but I'd be willing to bet if I recall correctly, he's at like 87 and a half sacks. So the guy literally has a ton of sack production over the last however many years he's been in the NFL. Now think about that. If you were to pair him opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, you have Aiden Hutchinson who in the last 2 years, if I recall correctly, again, 11 and a half plus 9 and a half, you're talking like 22, 23 sacks in 2 years. For a guy that's only in his second year in the NFL, that's great production. And it already shows that this guy's going to have a great career and the Lions are going to have a lot of years to get great production out of him. But think about it. For those first 2 years that we've had Aiden Hutchinson, he really hasn't had anybody opposite of him that can really help him out. He had James Houston in his first year, which is kind of like a great one-off, but last year James Houston got injured, didn't play again after he got injured. So it's like, okay, we need somebody who is a consistent edge rushing threat opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Danielle Hunter fits that in all spades because it's like, listen, the last 2 years he hasn't missed a game. Danielle Hunter, like I said, is ranked 11th in the NFL in terms of active leaders in terms of sacks. So it's like, okay, if you pair Aiden Hutchinson with Danielle Hunter, there is a twofold benefit that comes into that pattern. Number one, you get someone opposite of Aiden Hutchinson that is going to apply pressure equally as Hutchinson could. But at the same time, think about this. Danielle Hunter could help progress and get Aiden Hutchinson further along than on his own. Because I guarantee you this, the wealth of knowledge and experience that Danielle Hunter has would only make Aiden Hutchinson that much better, that much quicker. And that is something that Lions fans desperately want. And then, like I said, again, imagine, if you will, for half a second, that if you were to pair Aiden Hutchinson and Danielle Hunter together, you would have a great 1-2 tandem on both edges of the defense that would absolutely strike terror into opposing offensive linemen and into opposing offenses all in general. Because it's like, listen, you have two guys on the edges that are going to come after quarterbacks every single play, and they are going to make that quarterback's life living hell. But then on top of that, you now have two guys that are bookend edge rushers that are going to be able to set edges, that are going to make it much more difficult for outside zone runs and also for power runs. So it's not only going to help your pass rushing ability, it's also going to help your pass defense overall, and it's going to help your rushing defense. So it's like, okay, if you can get Danielle Hunter, there is so much good that could come out for the Lions getting him. And again, like I said, the last 2 seasons, this guy has shown his ability to play 17 games over the last 2 years. The reason why I'm saying that is because there was some concern about his availability, his ability to stay healthy. But it's like, listen, you're able to play 2 straight years, you don't miss any games, and you're able to stay healthy. I think you've been able to get over your injury concerns. Now, I'm going to say this. I would love nothing better in the world for the Lions to go out and make a splash and acquire Danielle Hunter. And I think that there's a possibility, that's the best word I'm going to use, there's a possibility that the Lions still could do it. Because again, we've heard a lot of reports, we've heard a lot of rumors that the Lions are supposedly interested in Danielle Hunter. Because again, we heard reports that prior to the trade deadline last year, the Lions tried to trade for him and the Vikings turned us down. However, though, I will say this, I'm not going to expect the Lions to make the move. I hope and pray fervently that they do, and I do believe that it is still a possibility, but I'm not going to expect it. And the reason why is because we have to understand what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are about. They want to make sure that the money that they have, the majority of the money that they have, is to go towards players that they already had. We've heard Dan Campbell say this before. They want to pay the guys the majority of the money that they already have on the team because they want their guys. And I understand that is an absolutely infuriating thing to say to Lions fans because it's like, listen, you have to bring in new blood. You have to bring in new talent to make yourself go to that next level. And Danielle Hunter could very well be that one piece that could get our defense over the edge. So it's like, listen, if you've got to spend a little to get a little better, then why won't you do it? All I'm simply saying is this, understanding Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell's track record, understanding their mindset would definitely keep me in this mindset of that I have, that it's a possibility that the Lions could go out and get Danielle Hunter, but not to expect it. Because again, the other thing we know about the Lions is this. They want guys that want to play for the Detroit Lions and want to have the mindset that the Detroit Lions have. And when we found out that when Danielle Hunter found out that there was a possibility he could be traded, he specifically went to the Vikings front office and pleaded with them. He asked them, don't trade me. That right there might also have some bearance on why the Lions have not yet made a move to sign Danielle Hunter. Maybe they're still trying to feel out. Maybe they're still trying to figure out if Danielle Hunter is a guy they really, truly want. I don't know. I'm spitballing. I'm hypothesizing right now. But my whole point is this. Is Danielle Hunter still available? Yes, he is still available. Is there a possibility that he still could come to Detroit? Yes, there is a possibility. But is it something that I would absolutely bank on and I would expect? No. So again, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm not trying to throw a wet blanket on the situation. I'm trying to be as realistic as possible. I'm trying to be a half glass full, half glass empty kind of person at the same time. And I know for some people that may not make a lot of sense, but it's like, listen, I'm trying to be as realistic as possible. I'm not trying to be an optimist, but I'm also not trying to be a pessimist either. So it's like, listen, I know this might not come as welcome news for some Lions fans, but it's like, listen, you're just going to have to trust the process that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have put together. I know that it's one right now that is causing a lot of frustration for Lions fans, and it's definitely causing them to have a couple of questions. But it's like, listen, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have shown that they know what they're doing, regardless of what anybody else thinks. So it's like, listen, just trust the process. Trust it as much as possible. I understand it's all right to have questions, but trust the process. It's gotten us this far, so I'm going to continue to trust it until I don't have a reason to. And as far as I'm concerned, that's going to take a while. But anyway, folks, I'm going to wrap this up and thank you all for once again watching the episode and say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, highly encourage you all to watch the next episode. Also encourage you all to do one of these three things. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you've subscribed in the past and forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and have not had a chance to do so, again, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out. But I also want to encourage you all to make sure you turn on that bell notification icon as well, so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. Again, subscription numbers always going up, but we want to make sure you turn on that notification icon so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. Also encourage y'all to please share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. The more we share it, the greater the channel spreads, the greater the channel grows. And with that being said, I hope to everybody you guys enjoyed the content, and I hope you all are having a great day. And with that, God bless to everybody. Hope you all are doing well, and until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.